No. You rise to the occasion. Experience comes with age, and I've been hearing a lot about age.
Now, and I finally get to check that off my list, and I knew this was going to be a big fight. The build up for this is huge. The press conferences are entertaining. It's a spectacle.
With only 17 days left before Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul walk into the ring, the pressure is rising fast. Both fighters are pushing themselves to their absolute limit. Joshua is sharpening his power, his precision, and his footwork, while Jake is grinding through brutal conditioning sessions to keep up with the pace. At this stage, every single workout matters, and the atmosphere around the event grows heavier as the final moments tick away.
I have nothing but love for him, but I'm going to knock him out respectfully, and you know, we can hug and kiss afterwards, specifically kiss.
Anthony Joshua's training camp for the upcoming Showdown with Jake Paul is now running at full intensity, and this time his approach is completely different. He has moved to a new camp, which marks a fresh direction in his preparation. Joshua has not been in the ring since his knockout loss in September 2024, followed by elbow surgery, so this camp carries huge importance. Reports say he is focusing heavily on conditioning, technical refinement, footwork drills, and detailed ring craft sessions under the guidance of Alexander Usyk's coaching team, with the goal of entering the fight sharper, more disciplined, and mentally locked in. Joshua admits that this switch has been a major adjustment because training in a new environment has pushed him harder than ever, testing him both physically and mentally. This entire camp is about rebuilding confidence, rediscovering his strengths, and preparing for what could be one of the most important comebacks of his career. Each morning, he starts his day with intense ice bath sessions as part of his recovery plan, and the freezing water helps reduce inflammation, keeps his muscles ready, and challenges his mental toughness. He believes this cold therapy sharpens his focus and prepares him for the demanding workouts that follow. And the strict routine shows just how committed he is to entering this fight strong, healthy, and fully prepared. Anthony Joshua has placed himself in a training environment built on discipline, precision, and relentless improvement as he works with coaches known for their technical knowledge and strategic focus, while entering each session with a clear purpose. His workouts revolve around tightening his offensive bursts and building a defensive system that reacts instantly and naturally. Trainers monitor everything, including his timing, foot placement, and punch selection, while pushing him to break old habits and raise his entire skill level. Anyone watching can see how seriously he takes each correction, and instead of relying only on his natural power, Joshua is sharpening his awareness of angles, range, and counter-punching windows. His footwork becomes more purposeful as he shifts smoothly from defensive slips into sharp counter combinations. The atmosphere in this camp forces him to evolve in every area, not only physically, but mentally as well, while sharpening the instincts needed for the chaotic, unpredictable exchanges that define elite heavyweight boxing. Eddie Hearn approaches this fight with a deep sense of seriousness, fully aware of what is at stake for Anthony Joshua, because he knows this matchup carries weight far beyond simple bragging rights, and for Joshua the outcome could shape the entire direction of the final phase of his career. Hearn makes it clear that a loss in a bout like this would spark real conversations about whether continuing would even make sense. Still, even with all that pressure, his belief in Joshua has not faded, because he is convinced that the months of focused work have restored Joshua's discipline and sharpened his mindset. From conditioning sessions to sparring work, Joshua has treated every moment of camp as if he were preparing for a world title fight. Hearn points to this mentality as the reason he remains confident Joshua will deliver when it counts. And that confidence grows stronger with every report coming out of camp describing a fighter who looks composed, focused, and hungry. Even with all the expectations, Joshua continues to push forward, not running from the moment, but embracing the challenge with full commitment.
Simon, I think he's at that stage of his career where he's trying to rediscover a little bit of that confidence. He's gone to Alexander Usyk, where we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul, isn't it?
It is, but it's not unheard of. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, it's the old Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and do a little bits together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm travelling, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine, where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously, after the Usyk fight, he's come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition
Well, yeah,
job.
Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helene, he said Otto Wally, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where, what you've just said then, Spencer, like, match him right. I felt he was match right with Dubois. That's just my opinion.
Just
obviously, I was wrong on that and I was proved wrong, but I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board, and where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick, because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to getting out and get back to winning ways is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8-rounders.
Yeah.
He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such
Very
a
much so.
commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He always will be in shape. He's never, ever not been.
But it's not about his
100%
physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Alexander Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted out by Deontay Wilder.
A major source of Joshua's renewed confidence comes from the level of sparring partners he has brought into camp, and recent footage shows him working with top-tier heavyweights who each bring a unique test to the ring. Jared Anderson, known for his explosive punching power and non-stop pressure, forces Joshua to stay sharp on defense, because Anderson never allows slow reactions, and every moment of hesitation gets punished, which keeps Joshua fully alert from the first second to the final bell of every round. Frank Sanchez brings a completely different kind of challenge with his slick movement, precise footwork, and smooth escapes from danger, which push Joshua to think faster and adapt in real time. Sparring with Sanchez demands that Joshua refine his angles, adjust his positioning, and approach every exchange with a strategic mindset. These sessions go far beyond simple conditioning because they simulate real high-level competition, and each sparring partner brings intensity and technical demands that Jake Paul has never experienced in any ring. This variety of styles helps Joshua build a complete, versatile game built on timing accuracy and the ability to switch tactics at any moment.
And that you and AJ must retire if Jake Paul wins on December 19th. Stand by that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, oh, I suppose so. Shit, yeah. Look, I don't see a world where Jake Paul wins this fight. I know that boxing's boxing. I mean, what was it? Roy Jones came out this morning and said Jake Paul can win this fight.
Teddy Atlas as well.
Teddy Atlas. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, now I'm a bit worried. I won't retire. AJ should retire if he loses. No.
Sorry.
No, I see AJ winning this fight with ease, comprehensively, destructively, violently, and I don't see a world where Jake Paul is competitive in the fight, let alone win the fight. But luckily, AJ's not preparing in a way that he just thinks it's a joke. He's preparing for Jake Paul like he's a world title contender. Yes, it's been a little bit of a shorter camp. Yes, we've got to make weight this time around, but it doesn't matter. We should just slide through this guy and bash him up and beat him up, and we should do it early doors.
Just lastly, you said as well that you told Nikisa that he was weighing 290 when you were negotiating. What impact did that have? Did you feel like they would have gone even lower if they knew he was weighing 265?
No, I don't think that when you're negotiating on a weight, there's not one promoter in the world that would tell the truth about what the weight of the fighter was. And Nikisa knows that anyway. So wasn't like we were being clever, but they wanted him to come to 240. And it's just, don't forget, AJ's never made weight before. So all of a sudden, he's been in camp for, 2 or 3 weeks, and he's probably sitting at, 260, 265. And it's like, you got to make 240.
Tony Jeffries sees Jake Paul's rise through the eyes of someone who has watched his progress for years, and he openly admits that Jake started with very basic skills, but slowly committed himself to the hard work needed to become genuinely capable in the ring. Jeffries highlights clear improvements in Jake's fundamentals, from cleaner punching technique to sharper distance control and a stronger sense of discipline during training. He also gives Jake full credit for building a team of seasoned trainers around him and pushing far harder than anyone expected from a late starter in the sport. In Jeffries' view, anyone claiming Jake has not evolved simply has not been watching closely, because the improvement is real and impossible to deny.
Paul's being dwarfed by these way bigger heavyweights like Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, and Lawrence Okolie. Okolie is like 6'4.5", 6'5", and these guys are like 6'3", 6'4", probably. So now Jake Paul is the one that's smaller. So first of all, I will give credit to Jake Paul. Clearly, he's a person who is taking his career seriously. These are quality sparring. I mean, a real boxer, because people say he's not a real boxer, but a real boxer would be using the same guys in their sparring camp. In fact, I just told you Joshua used Lawrence Okolie. I don't know if he sparred with Anderson or Frank Sanchez, but these are all regular ranked heavyweights. So credit to Jake Paul for that. And I mean, he's gonna need it. Joshua is a different breed to, like, a Mike Perry when it comes to boxing. Different frame, different size. In case you didn't believe me, right? Jake Paul, this is what MVP Promotions posted. So Jake Paul top sparring, right? Heavyweights. And here's some pictures of Joshua with Lawrence Okolie. And again, Joshua, a big dude, but you see Lawrence Okolie, and he probably was cruiserweight back then. I mean, I don't know exactly when this picture was taken, but he's only like an inch shorter than Anthony Joshua. And now, as he's moved up to the full heavyweight, he has filled out more. You see, he looks even bigger than when he was a cruiserweight. Now, I gotta research it, but I want to say, I thought
professional fighter Lamont Roach views Jake Paul's decision as both bold and extremely dangerous. From a competitive standpoint, he understands why Jake accepted the fight, because Jake has built his entire brand on shocking the public and proving doubters wrong. Roach explains that the financial upside is massive and gives Jake an opportunity that most fighters never experience so early in their careers. He also recognizes the psychological side of it. Jake thrives on unpredictability and high-risk moments, and stepping into the ring with someone as physically dominant as Anthony Joshua fits perfectly with that mindset. But Roach is firm that courage must be balanced with realism. Joshua carries true heavyweight knockout power, and that cannot be handled by self-belief alone. While he respects Jake's determination, he warns that this leap comes with serious risks that cannot be ignored no matter how big the payday may be.
Get older. Now, a problem for Anthony Joshua is his activity. He's only fought twice in 2 years, and one of them he got knocked out off Daniel Dubois. That was his last fight, and a lot of people say you can only judge a fighter's quality from their last fight. And then the fight before that was a win, but it was a win against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, if you know, he was the UFC heavyweight who's not a real boxer, and he only had one fight before that boxing fight, what he lost as well. So that's his activity in boxing. Now, Jake Paul, on the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023, and one of them was against Mike Tyson. But we all seen what happened in that fight. Mike Tyson was well past his prime. Where Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, is, well, I'm not going to say he's coming into his prime, because he had some great wins earlier on in his career before he lost to Usyk twice. And by the way, when he did lose to Usyk, the last one was a split decision. It was a pretty close fight. So now this fight is matched, and I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now, looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. Now, come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Now, then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway?
Chael Sonnen examines the situation with his usual straightforward honesty and questions whether Jake Paul is showing real courage or stepping into territory that goes against all logic. Sonnen acknowledges Jake's willingness to chase challenges that appear far outside his reach, but he openly wonders why anyone would willingly face a fighter with Joshua's size, experience, and knockout power. He explains that courage can quickly turn into outright recklessness when the level of preparation does not match the danger ahead. Taking risks is part of the sport, but taking uninformed or poorly calculated risks is something completely different, especially in boxing, where a single moment can change the entire direction of a fighter's career forever.
Excuse me. My first thoughts was, this guy's crazy. Not gonna lie. But I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua was a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2, twice. Absolutely. I think. So, I think Jake is setting himself up for, a huge spectacle, and which is, kind of smart. If you're going to go big, why not go to the highest, like the highest of the mountain? Why not? And I get it. That's what you call business right there. And I seen a lot of guys calling them out, from like Gabe to other guys who are boxers. Yeah, like guys who actually beat them. But why would he settle for those guys when he could fight Anthony Joshua? So I think that's smart. I think that's super smart.
Smart is one thing. What do you think happens in the ring, though, champ?
I think he gets hurt for sure. I think he gets obliterated. Something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him. But there will be a lot.
Angelo and Josh bring the discussion back to the core principles of boxing and remind everyone that this sport is built on levels that are earned through years of disciplined competition and battles with world-class opponents. In their view, Jake Paul is still in the learning stage, while fighters like Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder operate on a completely different tier. They explain that Joshua exists in a realm defined by frightening knockout power, polish technique, and deep experience against elite competition. Simply sharing a ring with athletes of his caliber changes the entire dynamic of a fight. With their timing, explosiveness, and the ability to generate fight-ending power in a single instant, they can flip a bout on its head even in moments when they seem to be losing.
Francis Ngannou performance. What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. Now really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think that time counts. I think that time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running backwards is...
I think that he could compete at the highest level, and I don't think he'd beat the top 5, top 6 guys. But that in that weight class is where he'd be at, like say 180, 188 or 189, somewhere around there is where he'd probably compete. There's not a lot of talent there though. So he might be pretty good in those weight classes. Him competing in the heavyweight division against like Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or anybody else, no. He gets annihilated. I'm very surprised he signed this fight.
I was shocked he signed this fight. I texted my buddy Bo because Bo follows boxing really well, and I texted him. I was like, "Dude, we might see a death." And he said the same thing. He's like, "I cannot believe he agreed to that fight." But the numbers, the numbers that are, nobody knows the true payouts. They're saying it's around $200 million that they're splitting evenly. So they're getting about $100 million each. He said that it was $267 million. So I don't know who you believe or don't believe, or it could be they're splitting 200 and the 67 delta, they had to pay DAZN because Anthony Joshua has a contract with DAZN. And this fight's going to be on Netflix. DAZN.
It's DAZN.
So they, which makes, how the hell?
Please stop saying DAZN, okay? That's like Saint Benoit, okay?
Where's the O in that?
That wraps up today's breakdown, and there is a lot more coming your way. So stay tuned, and until next time.